Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. I'm getting better at finding stuff than I am at covering it, so I better get dived in here. Tesla made a profit. Surprised everybody. They expected a 50 cent per share loss or so, and instead they had an 80 cents a share profit. So good for that. What is a super heart? You sent me a super heart yesterday. I don't even know what that is. Do I get money for it? I don't think so. Anyway, thanks for the super heart. I don't know if I see comments or not here. Try commenting a bit. There, now I think I got the comments up there. I'm trying to be more interactive, but it was 34 degrees this morning on the motorcycle. Why is this show not brought to you by Mesa, Arizona? There's another one. What does that mean? Anything? I don't know. Anyway, Tesla had a profit. This is kind of an interesting one. Some advertisers see loopholes in the California privacy law. According to the Interactive Advertising Bureau, which has actually got input from about 350 attorneys based at e-commerce companies around California, so it seemed to have some credibility. There was another one. I don't even know what that is. You're knocking me off track here. Derailing my train of thought. The opt-out. Okay, so the CCPA basically says if you're collecting data, you need to have an opt-out button on every page, which seems a little bit much to me, but I would just put it in a header or something like that. The opt-out provisions require web companies to place a "Do Not Sell My Information" link or button on their sites. But the measure has ambiguously worded exception for situations where one company transfers data to another for business purposes. In other words, if I'm doing modeling for Hammacher Schlemmer, but I'm not really doing anything, I'm not reselling it and I'm just looking at it, that seems to be okay. And they're Hammacher Schlemmer's customers. I would guess it's okay. There's a clause in my contract that says I have to take into account CCPA regulations. I don't have to follow them, but I have to at least take them into account. I objected to following them because this was written a year ago and they didn't even know what they were going to be. How can you agree to something that's unspecified at the moment? Anyway, so because of this, some people are saying when a business sells data for ad targeting, so if you're in an ad co-op, now a cataloger like Hammacher Schlemmer puts their data into a cooperative where other catalogers join in, okay? And now we know who bought from, and it's not as specific as who bought from Hammacher Schlemmer. You can't go in there by that. But you can say who bought gift items or something, or clothing items or whatever. And so we accumulate this body of information, but it's not really from anybody. It's from all kinds of people glopped all together. And if you don't exactly explicitly rent your list beyond that, it's a little tough to say what's going on. What about when you upload your list to Facebook or Google Ad and try to find more like it? Might work, might be a loophole, might not have to put a button on. Anyway, they're saying some advertisers are choosing not to sell, as defined by CCPA, such personal information by entering into service provider agreements where personal information is disclosed pursuant to business purposes. So, some people, so then they don't have to put a button on there because they're not selling your data. They're just sharing data for targeting purposes. I don't know. And there's no single agreed upon compliance interpretation, but Justin Brookman, Director for Consumer Privacy and Technology, for Consumer Reports said, the notion that advertisers will be able to avoid the mandate for "Do Not Sell My Information" link reflects a very aggressive interpretation, or actually a very aggressive interpretation and an unaggressive perspective on the on the legislation. Don't know. That's the fun part. Legislation makes bad law. Say courts make bad law. Precedent makes bad law. Legislation can be worse. Okay. On that note, people are calling out Amazon, the Washington Post, because, and CNBC, it's regularly selling expired foods, ranging from beef jerky to baby formula. Now, we all know that beef jerky, the point of beef jerky is that it lasts forever. So, some of that expiration stuff is overdone, if you ask me. I mean, you can probably keep ramen noodles through the nuclear winter. That's coming, if it's coming, or whenever else you want. I mean, there's some stuff that can have a date on it. That doesn't mean it's really expired. So don't get, too up in an uproar. But this is the part that's important. It is well established. I like that. By what? It doesn't say. Is there a footnote? No. That Amazon Marketplace has millions of third-party sellers, has an issue with counterfeit and unsafe products. And we did a little bit on the Nutrilite line being entirely represented on Amazon, which it's not supposed to be and could well be expired. And Amway does not seem to want to go after them. So they bought Whole Foods, but multiple reviews for Fiji bottled water claim shippers received recycled Fiji bottles filled with tap water. Yeah, nice. So if you think that Amazon is curated deeply, you're wrong. Okay. Secondly, on that note, if your brand is curated, you need to tell people. Okay. Not enough people are hearing about curated brands. You got that? If you've got a story to tell about how you make sure the products are actually legit, go head to head. That's one thing you can say, and you heard it here first. Okay, mega influencers. There's a lot of baloney on YouTube and on Facebook and especially Instagram telling me all about the influence of people that just spout off about stuff. Well, I'm getting big endorsements by Terry's Country Cafe today. That's why I'm showing her mug. Actually, it's out of business. But I do like her mug. And now with the elimination of the engagement is declining, but where bots roam free and influencers often buy likes, but you can buy followers. I did a story a couple of months ago about The Island, I think it was, or The Bachelor or something, where all the contestants had bought Instagram followers. You can buy like 1 million followers for $1,000 or something. And Facebook and Instagram plans to hide the likes, which is a huge blow. So it might be better to find legit people with a few hundred or a few thousand followers. I'm available. I'll do almost anything. I'll endorse whatever you like. No, I won't. But anyway, just teasing on that. Okay, the article I really wanted to get to was from Travis Seaton, and I had to paste his name in there. Travis and I did a talk at the Cohere 1 session a year and a half ago, and I really like Travis. Travis goaded me into building the full moon variable. I call it the werewolf variable, which actually does work every now and then. Okay, so what Travis argues in this article is, and the reason I mentioned the mega influencers is just to show how, there's a lot of illegitimacy in digital. It's fake, okay? And Amazon doesn't curate. There's a lot of counterfeit. So if you're legit, tell people I'm legit, okay? No endorsements on this show whatsoever. But he says here's some areas where print can shine. The digital team is interested in driving performance online. The retail team is interested in driving in-store sales. And I've presented a couple of case studies about that, about both of these. And the great part about print is when you stop, even for a segment, you can measure it clearly because we mail to the household and we ship to the household, so it's very, very trackable. Even if they're buying on different channels. The print team is just trying to survive since there's no real print channel. Nobody thinks of print as a channel. Because why? Because people place their order over the phone. People place their order online. Not very many people mail it in, although I have talked with companies that are still getting double-digit mail-in orders. But, they might come from the web. Who knows? Anyway, so what's missing is an understanding that the print program is in fact supporting all channels. Hold it out. Something will happen. As opposed to holding out your mega influencer budget. Stop that. See if anything happens. Might not. It's very difficult to track that stuff. Okay, companies who thrive embrace print as a mechanism to support online and retail store traffic. Okay, the more you align contact through various marketing channels, the more incremental sales will increase. Now that is always tricky to measure, but this is what Travis shows you, and I like it. So if you've got 5 channels, you get a plus incremental 35% lift on all your marketing. That's a big deal. Okay, so you got 1 channel as a baseline, and it goes up from there. 8%, I think, is the incremental lift, rather. Not all online sources will be affected equally by print. And this is on the Cohere1, that's the name, .com website. That's where I got it. And it's also with Travis Seaton on LinkedIn. So I highly encourage you to read this in more detail. But what they've found at Cohere1 is that 67% of the online orders are influenced by print. So just because it's coming on your website doesn't mean they didn't look at your catalog. And right now I've got a Land's End catalog laying on my ottoman at home, ready for me to buy more turtlenecks because I love Land's End turtlenecks. I don't get paid to say that. Land's End, happy to write reviews. Oh, mercy. Anyway, so 67% of orders are influenced by print. I'm just waiting. I've got that catalog laying there to remind me because you know what? Sorry, but I don't just off the top of my head remember to go to landsend.com. My day is too busy. But I look down at that catalog laying there begging me to open it, which I have, and I got the page marked, and I'm all set to go. I just haven't gotten there yet. And only 30% are genuinely incrementally digital only, if that, right? And, if you're doing last click, you're all mixed up, okay? Now, when companies make blanket changes, and remember we covered this in J. Jill and in, it was going to say Macy's, but it's Neiman Marcus. They just stop their mail, and kaboom, terrible results happen. When companies make blanket changes, because they're looking at click-throughs or last click attribution, and I explained the other day, digital wedges itself in on all kinds of channels. You'll get a cookie even if you never saw the ad. So don't just assume that digital is actually causally connected just because it's correlated. But when companies make blanket changes, they're usually left scratching their heads wondering why online metrics are failing. And if you don't know how to test, call an old direct marketing guy and say, I heard your talk, I'd love to test. Okay? Because direct marketing is not measurement. Measurement is only a means. Direct marketing is about testing. ScientificAdvertising.com, a 100-year-old book. Read it. John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA. Like and share. We're coming to Minneapolis on the 7th of November. Like and share. Your friends will think you're smart. Have a great day. Bye-bye.